Alright, so hey guys, it's Maddie, and today we're talking about period sex. More specifically, why I actually really enjoy period sex, and why you should too, maybe, if you want. Totally up to you. That's your choice. Are women hornier on their periods? It's possible. Am I hornier on my period? Yes. Willing to submit my body to science if it helps. I have wanted to make a video not only on period sex, but just on like my experience with my period in general for forever. So that's what this video is. We're talking about menstruation, baby. Before I get into telling any of the stories that I have stored in my brain for today's video, I wanted to introduce the sponsor of today's video, which is natracare. Very fitting. Natracare is a brand that makes non-toxic, sustainable, and ethical menstrual and maternity products. I have a bunch of their stuff. I have the tampons, I have some of their pads, and I also have their intimate wipes. Their products are made from renewable, biodegradable, and compostable materials. A lot of paper products go through chemical treatments and chlorine bleaching, and tampons are not excluded from those group of products. I don't know about you, I don't love the idea of putting something that has gone through chlorine bleaching into my vagina for like 6 hours. Not my favorite thought. I've thought better thoughts before. And this is where natracare comes in, because they are really dedicated to creating products that not only respect women's bodies, but also respect the planet as well. I really love natracare, not only because these products just make me feel better when using them than the typical tampons that I would buy at the store, but I also really love them because they, as a brand, are really committed to breaking taboos within menstruation and helping to normalize the discussion of periods in many contexts, period sex included. I am a tampon during the day, pad at night kind of girl, because I don't want to get toxic shock syndrome, please. Hello? I am fresh off my period right now, which thank God. I'm like a free woman. It's why I'm in such a good mood right now. All last week I was using tampons during the day, pads at night, and I actually tried out their intimate wipes for the first time ever. I have never gravitated towards intimate wipes before because I feel like usually in the marketing of intimate wipes, they are really pushed as a way to like clean your vagina, which I am not here for, because obviously your vagina is self-cleaning and there's nothing inherently gross about your vagina that you would need to buy a product to fix. So I personally would never use intimate wipes in that context because I just don't think that there's a purpose there. If you're someone that uses pads either at night or throughout the day, I think that wipes like these are a great solution to just cleaning up any blood that may have spilled over from the pad. I know I used to get super heavy periods. They've gotten lighter throughout my life, but usually on like the first day of my period, it'll be heavy enough that at night specifically, sometimes it doesn't all stay within one area. I don't know, sometimes it's kind of uncontrollable. Like you're sleeping in a weird position and then it like leaks out the side or whatever. Using these on like my inner thighs or any external areas that may have gotten some blood on it overnight has been fantastic. Like I wish that I had these in high school. I would have kept these in my fucking locker all the time. The amount of accidents that I had in fucking high school, bro. And then you're walking around all day just feeling kind of gross because like, what are you gonna do with like some toilet paper in a high school bathroom? Nothing, right? If you're interested in trying out any of the natracare products and just making the switch to some more eco-friendly menstrual products, you can find these sold at a lot of like major grocery stores. I know they're sold at Whole Foods, Wegmans, Big Y, Fairway. They've got a ton of locations listed on their website, and they're also sold on Amazon as well. I really am so happy that I get to partner with brands that I really believe in and that are really working to sort of break down the stigma behind periods and menstruation and period sex, and are open and down to work with someone like me. It really means the world to me. So thank you guys for supporting this channel, and thank you to natracare for sponsoring today's video. So let's talk about my period growing up and how fucking much I hate it. I don't know what happened to me, but over the last couple years, I have like gotten less and less of a period. Growing up, I had the most heavy periods on the face of the fucking planet. I was the type of bitch who like, I had to change my tampon every fucking 45 minutes to an hour. I was in there with the super plus bitches, just absolutely maxing them out. Like I was living in my own personal hell during the week of my periods growing up. Now, I'm fucking cruising, truly. I cannot complain about my period now because of what I experienced when I was younger. What I experienced when I was younger was like the worst of the fucking worst, and I don't know what my body did to like graduate from that phase of my life, but I'm glad we fucking graduated from it. I felt like growing up, my period was one of those things that like no matter how hard I tried to not bleed through like every pair of pants I owned. It was just like gonna happen. When I think of like embarrassing period stories, this is the first one that comes to mind because I was fucking mortified. I was at a summer camp, and this was only like a year after I had gotten my period. You know, we're all sitting there, fucking musical theater kids, just singing our hearts out, and I just totally am forgetting that I'm bleeding. And that's fine, it happens. You're having a good life and you're a kid. Fuck it, right? Fucking sing your fucking In the Heights, bitch, go off. Only problem here was that I was sitting in a chair with like a fabric covering on it. You know where this is going. We were probably in a rehearsal for like 2 hours. And at the end of those 2 hours, I had successfully not only bled through my shorts, but bled all over this fucking chair for everyone to see. The whole camp. Yep. Because my periods were so heavy in middle and high school, I was the type of bitch who had like an emergency locker for everyone. I had fucking mints, I had tampons, pads, floss, like I had everything you fucking needed. I learned pretty quickly not to be ashamed of the fact that I had to change my tampon all the time and walk to the bathroom holding one. Like what, they usually tell you like hide the tampon in your shirt sleeve, and so people are like walking to the bathroom like this. Absolutely not, bitch. I'm whipping it right out my backpack and just holding it in my hand. I'm actually gonna hold it up like a fucking candlestick, lighting the way. I didn't give a shit. It's like you reach a point where you're like not embarrassed anymore. It's like, you know, you get your period when you're like 11, 12, 13. And you're embarrassed for a little while because you're like, oh my God, and like everyone is still like trickling into like the life of menstruation. But then you get to high school, and when you are a big bitch with a heavy flow, listen, you got like 2 days to stop giving a fuck. And obviously I feel like it's just sort of within my nature and like character as a person to not really be ashamed of that sort of thing. Like, do I look like the type of bitch that's gonna be bothered if some Chad from the Hopkinton High School lacrosse team has something to say about me holding a tampon and going to the bathroom? Do I look like I'm gonna be the bitch that cares about that? Somebody's on their period. It's like, Chad, you have 4 brain cells that are constantly at war with each other. I don't want to hear nothing about me being on my period. My period throughout my life has been very influenced by the birth control that I have been on as well. I've been on like 4 different types of birth control at this point. I first started taking the pill, and that didn't help with my periods at all, and it made me super depressed. So I went off the pill, and then I got an IUD, and not to totally scare the fuck out of any of you that might want to get an IUD, my IUD basically got lodged in my uterus because my body was rejecting it, and I ended up having my period for like 8 months. So that was a fun freshman year of college. After that, they were like, we can try to do the IUD again, but your body's likely gonna reject it again. And I was like, I'm not fucking going through that again. So give me the NuvaRing. I used the NuvaRing for like 4 years, loved the NuvaRing. I was on it for like 4 years, and all of a sudden my body just like stopped reacting well to it, and I got my period for 3 months straight, and I switched back to the pill. I'm like, let me give this another try, and now I'm on the pill and I barely have a period anymore. So I don't know what the fuck is going on. Additionally, being someone who had my period for basically my entire freshman year of college, I had a lot of period sex, because where was my other option? It wasn't like a full-blown period all the time. It would like fluctuate from being a full-blown period to being spotting, but it was never nothing. It was always something. And that's normal when you get an IUD, by the way. They tell you to expect spotting for 3 to 6 months. By the time I hit the 6-month mark, I was in college and wasn't gonna be home for another 2 months. Anyways, a day in the life, baby. But listen, it's freshman year of college. I'm not gonna let a little bit of blood stop me, so I'm like roaring and ready to go. So listen, I was sucking and fucking no matter what. No amount of blood could stop me from sucking and fucking. You fucking try me, bitch. So let's talk about my experience with period sex itself. I had sex for the first time my freshman year of college and was having sex with the same person for my entire freshman year. And so he was someone that I pretty much had all of my firsts with, which was fun at the time before he was the worst. But I will say, as far as like firsts go, he was pretty good. I'll give it to him. He turned out to be an asshole, but he was pretty good in the sense that he was a very open person, a very like casual and accepting person. He never made me feel any type of way about my body or anything that was natural to existing in my body. I think it was definitely a sort of relationship that introduced me to sex in a pretty open and accepting way. So for that, good job. The first time that I had period sex, I was afraid that he wasn't gonna wanna hook up with me. And so I was like totally preparing to just go into this like, oh, don't even worry about it. Like, I'll just give you oral. We don't have to have sex. Like, I'll just give you like 18 blowjobs all night, as many as you want. I'm so sorry, I'm bleeding. I definitely felt pretty scared and felt like I had to sort of make up for the fact that I was on my period. Like, I was like some sort of inconvenience to him. I know. Listen, my 18-year-old brain was not on all of the same wavelengths as my current brain. If anyone ever spoke to me like my period was an inconvenience to them because they wanted to fuck me not on my period, I'd be like, well, you don't get to fuck me at all. Like, you just get no pussy. He didn't give a single shit. Got there, was hanging out with him, told him I was on my period, but that I would go down on him. And he was like, I mean, great, but like, I will also do that to you. And I was like, you will? I just was expecting him to be shitty to me. I don't know. Bars on the floor. And this has been all of my experiences with having period sex, which I feel like must be pretty lucky because there has to be some fucking assholes out there about it. And that's not to say that everyone has to enjoy period sex or want to have period sex, but that doesn't mean you have to be an asshole about it. You know, like if my partner doesn't want to have period sex, that is totally fine. We do not have to have period sex, but you also don't have to shame me in the process. You know, like you can say I don't want to have period sex without being like, ew, fucking gross. But I've never even had a partner that wasn't down to have period sex. So, and I do think that being with partners that have been so open-minded about, you know, having period sex and not really being bothered by something that is extremely natural to existing as a person with a vagina has definitely really helped with a lot of like my comfortability in my body in sexual relationships. Just because when you know the person that you're with has like an understanding of your body's functions and what you go through on a month-to-month basis and doesn't give a fuck about it and is just like with it and like understands, you'll feel a lot better about any other sort of like body function or awkwardness that you might have together. In my experience, I have really enjoyed period sex. One, because I'm definitely noticeably hornier on my period. And there's something about, I don't know, like even though I'm so comfortable with the idea of having period sex and it is not weird to me, it's not taboo to me, like I don't give a single shit. You know, it's like societally taboo, which kind of turns me on even more and makes me want to do it even more. But I think mainly in my experience, because I've had such positive relationships and interactions with people who have always been like, yeah, I don't give a shit. Like, let's put a towel down. I think for the majority of people, it's more of a thing of like, yeah, let's just do what we have to do to make sure that we can clean this up or stop the flow in order, you know, so that I can go down on you or do X, Y, Z. But everyone's like still down for it as long as it's, you know, being kept under order and it's not like a full-blown fucking bloodbath, which like same, I also don't want to deal with that. I think for me, the reason why I have enjoyed it so much in the past is just because it makes me feel closer to the partners that I'm with, and let me explain. Obviously it's not for everyone, but I think because I am such like an open person when it comes to bodies and sexuality, I feel really understood and safe with partners who carry similar values to me. Now, that's not to say that having period sex is one of my values, but it's the idea that there is nothing gross or out of the ordinary about menstruation. For me, being with partners that are equally as open and sort of like, yeah, fuck it, like let's just roll with the punches here, throw down a towel, we'll hop in the shower, we'll do it there. Like people who are just more open about bodies and bodily functions and, you know, how that's gonna change with different people that you're with. Those are just my kind of people. And those are the people that I typically find myself being attracted to. It's a similar vein to, like, you know, the video that I made talking about body hair and why I don't like shaving for hookups. It's the same sort of thing. Like, I find myself just being more attracted to people who don't have such rigid rules for what other people's bodies should look like or function like, and they just sort of, you know, they're knowledgeable, they know what's going on and what to expect, and they accept that as part of, you know, the human experience and a part of, you know, what sex is gonna look like for us. That to me just makes me feel so much more open and connected with the person that I'm with, because I don't have like this pressure to uphold some ridiculous body standard that I can't commit to. You know, obviously that's not like a blanket statement. Like, if you don't want to have period sex, if you don't feel comfortable having period sex, then obviously don't, and that would never deter my attraction to someone. But I do feel like in general, a lot of the times I am just attracted to people that are more open, that carry similar values to me, and those people usually don't give a fuck about period sex or body hair, you know, any of the above. All right, so let's do some questions. First up, is it true that women are hornier on their periods? So first off, this is something that not everyone experiences, because obviously desire and libido are different from person to person. However, but throughout the month, depending on where you are in your menstrual cycle, your hormone levels are constantly changing. Now, from what I've read, it seems like the most likely time that you would experience like a boost in libido during the time of your cycle would be more towards the ovulation period. Seems like you're probably more likely to be really horny in the week or two leading up to actually getting your period. I don't know, for me personally, I sometimes find it hard to gauge if I am just horny or hornier than I normally am. Like, it's just like, I'm here always, maybe, I don't know. So I don't know if there's a definitive science to this, but obviously a lot of people with vaginas report that they feel hornier on their period. Can having period sex help to relieve cramps and general discomfort? Again, this probably isn't gonna be the case for everybody, but yes. It doesn't have to be period sex. I think it's orgasms in general, because of the contractions of the muscles that are happening. It can help to sort of relieve some of the discomfort and cramping that you feel around the time of your period, just because of the contractions that your uterus is making during an orgasm. So if you can't have period sex, masturbate. That's the life lesson here. And last up, what are the best cleanup tips for period sex? So obviously I think for having period sex, you sort of have, I mean, I guess you have three options. Option one is put a towel down. Option two is have shower sex. And option three is just say fuck it. And then for after the fact, I would definitely recommend using the natracare intimate wipes to just clean up any excess blood that might be on your legs or around the area, using a product that is both gentle and made for the skin in that area. So that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to link where you can find natracare products in the description down below, so that you can start supporting companies that make you feel good and that are super good for the environment as well. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, because I'm super sexy and just like deserve your follow on Instagram. I'm gonna start saying that in every video. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.